What do you do when the kid who's tormented you for weeks suddenly decides to ruin your entire reputation with one lie? What do you do when he screams for the teacher, points at you, and tries to get you punished in front of the whole class? Well, me? I gave him the perfect rope, and he used it to hang himself. This is the story of how one annoying, attention-hungry classmate pushed me too far, and how a single clever move turned his world upside down. If you've ever dealt with someone who had to be the center of attention, someone who made your life just a little harder for no reason, then hit that like button. Because today's story, oh, it's justice. Pure, clean, delicious justice. Back in the mid-1990s, I went to a Christian school, a place where the walls were covered in Bible quotes, assemblies started with prayers, and the idea of proper behavior was treated like law. And swearing? Swearing was basically a one-way ticket to academic damnation, a zero-tolerance sin. So let me introduce you to the one person who treated that environment, our strict little universe, like a stage built just for him. Ricky. There's always a Ricky. Every school has one. That kid who feeds on attention like it's oxygen, the loud one, the disruptive one. The kid who laughs too hard at his own jokes and believes the world owes him an audience. But what made Ricky special wasn't just his need to be noticed, it was his need to drag everyone else down to make it happen. I was never his main target, but on this day, he decided I would be. The room smelled like paper and old wood, classic English classroom. Sunlight cut through the blinds in harsh stripes across the desks. Our teacher was droning on about Shakespeare, monologues, symbolism, the usual stuff your brain kind of half absorbs. And then, tut. Something hit the back of my chair. I ignored it. Tut. Another kick. I straightened my spine, pretending it didn't bother me, but then, tut, tut, tut. Not even rhythmic, just random kicks. Each one like a tiny jab saying, you can't ignore me, look at me, pay attention to me. You know that feeling? When someone deliberately irritates you. Not enough to scream at them, just enough to boil your blood, molecule by molecule. Inside, I was narrating my own downfall. Maybe it'll stop. Just ignore him. Don't give him what he wants. But Ricky was the type whose joy increased each time you pretended he wasn't there. His breathing got louder. I could hear him snickering quietly behind me. He was enjoying this. He was feeding off it. My grip on my pencil tightened so hard the wood creaked. And then he landed a kick so sharp the entire desk jolted. That was it. My patience, gone, evaporated like water on a hot stove, slowly, deliberately. I turned my head over my shoulder. My eyes locked onto his smirking face. My eyes locked onto his smirking face. And without thinking, without planning, without caring, I lifted my hand and flipped him off. Just one clean, solid middle finger. The universal symbol of I'm done with you. For a split second, a beautiful silence filled the air. Ricky's grin vanished, his mouth dropped open, and then, right on cue, "Sire! Sir!" He shot up in his seat like he'd been stabbed. He swore at me. He swore at me. He gave me the finger. That one. The whole class turned. I froze. My stomach dropped. Because again, this was a Christian school. Swearing wasn't a rule-breaking moment. It was a scandal. Our English teacher lowered his book slowly, staring at Ricky with a tired expression, the kind teachers get when they've dealt with too many Rickies for too many years. Okay, what's going on now? Everyone stared at me. Ricky pointed wildly like he'd just witnessed a crime. He flipped me off. He did the rude gesture. The teacher's eyes narrowed. He looked at me. Is that true? Inside my chest, my heart thumped like a drum. My face was hot. My pulse was loud. But my voice? Calm as ice. No, sir. Ricky practically vibrated with outrage. Yes, he did. The teacher exhaled slowly. A long, exhausted sigh. Both of you. Hallway. Now. The class buzzed behind us as we stood up. I could feel Ricky's smug energy like heat coming off him, but deep down, somewhere under the panic, a spark lit inside me, a spark that whispered, "Don't let him win." The hallway was empty, cold, silent, except for a faint echo of distant footsteps. The teacher stood in front of me. "Did you swear at him?" I kept my face blank, my voice small. "No, sir." My lie rolled out smoother than butter. A perfect, practiced innocence. The teacher's eyes searched mine. He wasn't convinced, but he wasn't convinced otherwise either. He folded his arms. "All right. If you were going to give someone the finger," he leaned in slightly, "how would you do it?" Inside, my mind did a somersault. This was an opening, a crack in the armor, a chance. I swallowed, looked at the floor, acted like the question made me uncomfortable. "I mean, I don't really know, sir." I let the silence stretch, then added, "But if I had to guess." I lifted my hand, slowly, reluctantly, deliberately. But instead of showing him the middle finger, the one I actually used, I showed him the old school UK two-finger V. Not rude enough to offend him, but different enough to sabotage Ricky's version. The teacher nodded quietly, expression unreadable. "All right, go back inside." My heartbeat hammered as I walked back into the classroom. The moment felt heavy, like the air before a storm hits. But I wasn't done. Not yet. Now. It was Ricky's turn. I took my seat, pretending everything was fine. Inside, adrenaline buzzed through me like electricity. A minute later, the teacher called out, "Ricky, hallway." Ricky strutted out with all the arrogance of someone who believed he had already won. The door shut behind him, and then silence. We all sat there, pretending to read, pretending not to listen. But everyone's ears were perked. What was happening out there? What was being said? Was I about to be suspended? Was Ricky about to be crowned a victim? Inside my mind, I pictured the teacher asking, "Show me how he did it." And Ricky, in all his self-righteous fury, would lift his hand and show the single middle finger gesture, the one I hadn't demonstrated, the one the teacher hadn't seen, the one that didn't match my innocent guess. In that quiet classroom, time stretched. Every second felt like an hour. And then, the door handle turned. Ricky stepped back into the classroom, but this wasn't the Ricky we knew. His swagger, gone. His smirk, dead. His face, a cocktail of confusion, humiliation, and barely contained fury. Behind him, the teacher entered, voice calm but firm. "Ricky, you have something to say." His jaw clenched. His eyes darted around the room, searching for support he didn't have. "Sorry," he muttered. The teacher raised an eyebrow, louder. Ricky swallowed. "I'm sorry." "To who?" the teacher pressed. Ricky's eyes flicked to me with the most delicious look of resentment I had ever seen. "I'm sorry for lying and causing disruption." The class erupted in muffled snickers. Some kids covered their mouths, others just looked at me with wide eyes like I'd performed magic. And me? I sat there, heart pounding, trying so hard not to smile, not to smirk, not to show the sheer satisfaction thundering through my body, because I had done it. I outsmarted him, without yelling, without fighting, without even leaving my desk. I watched him lower himself in front of everyone, caught by his own lie and my carefully planted trap. The teacher dismissed him, and Ricky sank into his chair like air leaking from a balloon. He didn't look at me again. Not that day, not for weeks. His kicks stopped, his teasing stopped, his random attempts for attention around me, dead. He wasn't afraid of me. He was afraid of the truth, afraid of what happened when he messed with someone who didn't play his games. That apology wasn't just a punishment, it was a message. To him, to the class, to me. Justice doesn't always come with shouting. Sometimes it arrives quietly, smartly, elegantly, and sometimes it arrives in the form of a single, perfectly timed, perfectly executed lie. Sometimes the best revenge isn't loud, it isn't violent, it isn't dramatic. Sometimes the best revenge is simply letting someone trip over the truth they try to weaponize against you. Ricky wanted attention. He got humiliation instead. And honestly, it was beautiful. If this story gave you that sweet little spark of satisfaction, hit that like button. It tells YouTube you want more justice. Subscribe for more revenge stories like this, and let me know in the comments, what's the most unforgettable school moment you still think about to this day? Thanks for watching. Until next time, stay sharp.